Assalamu alaikum, it's Zainab. Hi guys. I'm so nervous. I've been putting this off for quite some time. You guys, well, some of you have requested my to hear my revert story. And I'm nervous because as you guys probably know, I recently outed to you guys that I'm Shia, and since then have received a lot of hate from non-Shia Muslims on my mostly YouTube. But it was to be expected. I expected that. That's why I took some time to reveal to you that I'm Shia, because I wanted you guys to get to know me first a little bit, at least before you found out, because I know how much, non-Shias hate Shias because I've been on the receiving end of that. And I just think of all the Shias that have come before me throughout history since the beginning of Islam, who have been silenced, persecuted, oppressed, and killed for being Shia. So I don't have it so bad, It's okay. I can get a little hate on my social media platforms. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. It's just funny how you guys couldn't even wait until after Ramadan to express just how much hatred you have for Shia. You just couldn't wait to show your true colors until after Ramadan even. But that's fine. So my revert story. So in order to tell you why or how I became Muslim, I guess it kind of goes hand in hand as to why I'm Shia. Like, I'm not Shia because I'm Muslim because I'm Shia, pretty much. I was Team Ahlul Bayt even before I was Muslim. Even before I said Shahada. The first story I ever heard, Islamic story I ever heard, was years before I even considered I would ever be Muslim. Was the story of Imam Hussein's martyrdom, along with his, I think, 72 of his family and companions at Karbala. Because he was standing up against oppression, standing up against tyranny, standing up against a tyrannical ruler, and refused to swear his allegiance to Yazid. And for that he was killed, along with his family members, including his 6-month-old son. And that story, it shocked me, especially to know that those people that killed him and his family were Muslims as well. They called themselves Muslims, and they did this to the family and the descendants of their own prophet. And that I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand. Even as a non-Muslim, as someone who felt no connection to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family at the time, I couldn't understand how someone who calls themselves Muslim could kill not just fellow Muslims, but family of the Prophet. Anyways, the second story that I ever heard, Islamic story that I ever heard as a non-Muslim, again, years before I ever considered converting to Islam, was the one of Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet, peace be upon her, peace be upon the whole family, and how she was attacked at her home because she and her husband Imam Ali also refused to to swear their allegiance to Umar. And Umar ordered, he sent a mob to their house to kind of make them swear allegiance to him. And they refused, and the mob, I think it was Umar, threatened to burn the house down. So they set fire to the door, and then they pushed themselves in, and Fatima was behind the door. She was pregnant, and they pushed the door against her, and she had a miscarriage, and then she died soon after that, actually, from her injuries. And that was the daughter of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family. Again, this crime was committed by people who call themselves Muslims. The first caliphate, the first caliph did this to the family of the Prophet. So I'm like, okay, this is crazy. Later on, so right from day dot, Team Ahlul Bayt, like, no hesitation there. The whole family has been oppressed. The descendants of the prophets, the Imams, have been oppressed. All of them were oppressed and martyred by fellow Muslims. Who am I going to follow? I'm not going to follow the ones who did that to them. I'm going to follow them. I'm always team oppressed. I'm always team oppressed. I'm never team oppressor. That's why I fight for Palestine. I fight for Palestine against the Zionists, because they are the oppressors. The Nazis are the oppressors. Anyways, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I know I am, but that's fine. Yeah. So the beauty of being a revert, coming into the religion from outside, from a non-biased position, is that I can, I didn't come from a Sunni or a Shia family or community, so I don't have that inner bias already. I can actually do the research and see it from both sides before jumping in, and I can make my decision which way I believe to be the right way before getting into it. So that's what I did. I researched, and then I made my decision. I used my brain first before kind of just being like, okay, I know nothing about Islam, but I want to be Muslim, so I'm going to say my Shahada, and then learning everything, all the history and politics and stuff. But yeah, so I did my research from a completely non-biased position. And I'm privileged because I've lived for many years in one of the most multicultural cities on earth, where I do meet a lot of people from a lot of different places in the world, a lot of different backgrounds, life experiences, religions, countries, a lot of different people. And in Canada, it's you can talk to people and not feel like from a completely non-biased position, you can talk to people and learn from them. It's not like Saudi Arabia, where the Sunnis and the Shias don't talk to each other, or they do very rarely, so I don't get to learn anything from them. So the Sunnis have this idea in their heads that have been put there by the Sunni government, who want to smear the Shias and try and brainwash them into thinking that Shias are evil and want to kill them and worship Ahlul Bayt or don't believe in the Quran or ridiculous things like that. But because they have so much animosity towards them, they don't bother to get to know them and ask them, is this true? So they never find out that it's not true. So for me, okay, I'm going to end it here because it's a 10-minute video. So I'm going to leave it here for part 1. And please join me for part 2 to find out what happens.